gotta follow.
Yeah, what kind of rules?
Keep him out of the light. He hates bright light, especially sunlight. It'll kill him. And keep him away from water. Don't get him wet. But the most important rule, the rule you can never forget, no matter how much he cries, no matter how much he begs, never feed him after midnight. You got it?
Sure, kid, whatever you say. Hey, listen, thanks, and have a Merry Christmas.
Good evening. Welcome to this week's edition of the WayBack Movies Podcast, a show where we review the best and not so best of 80s and 90s cinema, because really, fuck the 2000s. My name is Steve, and with me on this crazy journey,
Justin.
Doctor.
Doctor.
So we're back.
We're back for the second of our all 80s.
Yes.
Kind of now alternative Christmas extravaganza month.
Definitely.
Because this one... Is it tied to Christmas as much as Lethal Weapon was? After watching it again, I think it kind of is.
I would say so. I mean, this movie... It's weird because nobody seems to debate whether this one is a Christmas movie, yet I look at it and go... The premise is not Christmas at all.
No.
The catalyst is Christmas more than anything.
But you can say that about another film we'll be doing this month.
Absolutely.
And I think when you defend that one, people always go to this one going, well, if Gremlins is a Christmas movie, then
that is a Christmas movie. And they have a point. Like,
Listen,
sorry.
At the end of the day, not every movie has to be about Santa Claus for Christmas.
It really doesn't. And that's one of those things where I'm like, this movie totally, fits that bill of just like, well, it's Christmas adjacent.
Yeah.
Again, the catalyst is certainly Christmassy, like it's a Christmas present that he gives him way too early.
Well, I mean...
Like, Christmas hasn't happened yet. All of a sudden, he just gives it to him.
Well, it is a living thing, so you have to open up the box.
True, but at the same time, it's a living thing that doesn't drink water, so I don't understand how that works.
Either way.
Yes.
The movie we're talking about this week is Gremlins.
It is. Yeah. So...
Kind of I'd say an 80s staple.
I would think so. Pretty much...
Just for the sheer fucking fierce cuteness that is Gizmo the Mogwai.
I mean, it's weird because he didn't direct it at all, but this has Spielberg's fingerprints all over it.
Yeah.
And considering what I learned about how hands-on he was, you can see why. Mm-hmm. But, it's, I mean, I guess there's not much point in continuing to talk about it. Let's just sort of move our way down, strap ourselves in to, for a Christmas movie. Let's go to June 9th of 1984 for this Christmas movie.
It's going to be a theme.
All right, hold on, folks. So,
well, it sure looks Christmassy here in June.
Yeah. Wow. Look at all of the Christmas lights on the snowy... Yeah, no, it's boiling hot out here because it's June and I hate my life.
Well, at least this movie has snow in it.
It does.
It doesn't take place in California.
This is true. So at least we can sort of see a Christmassy spirit whilst we're watching said film. But, so, like we said, Gremlins, June 9th, 1984. Directed by Joe Dante, written by Chris Columbus, staple of every childhood, I would say at this point.
June 8th.
June 8th?
Yeah.
What?
Wikipedia.
Really?
Yep.
Why the hell do we keep saying 9th?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. I think we even said 9th last week, too. Whatever.
One day.
Who cares? We went forward a day. It really doesn't matter. It's a Saturday. We can go see the movie.
No, I'm only laughing because we'll see at the end of the episode. You'll see why it's funny.
Produced by Amblin Entertainment and Warner Brothers, distributed by Warner Brothers. Box office of $153.1 million against a budget of $11 million.
That's a lot of smackaroos.
It did, ironically, considering it was the fourth highest grossing film of the year, it did not win its opening weekend.
No.
That was beaten by a little film called Ghostbusters.
You might have heard of it.
Might have heard of it. It's a little independent film, but it's. I think people have seen it once or twice. So that weekend was basically. I mean, I want to go back to 1984 because the box office for this week: Ghostbusters, Gremlins, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Star Trek: The Search for Spock, which is probably the best of the bad Star Trek movies.
It's a badge of honor.
It really is. And then rounding out the top 5 is Beat Street, which is not a great movie, but
4 out of 5 ain't bad.
Exactly. So that being said, not a terrible haul, I would say. I mean, the opening weekend was $13.5 million.
Which
sorry, that was Ghostbusters. My apologies.
Whoops.
12.5.
Hey, that's still pretty good for the 80s.
You know,
mid-80s.
it really is, because like movie tickets were like $4.
Yeah,
so that's a lot of fucking people went to see these two movies that weekend.
Again, you do the whole adjust for inflation thing, and 115 turns into like 300 real quick.
Yeah, very, very quickly. So 300. Try 7.
Yeah, it's just okay.
it's a
I'm
lot
for
higher.
80s to
84
84
is like
you add another decade.
the coffees we're drinking would have cost you about
$1.
50 cents.
Yeah, 50 cents. Yeah.
You know, whereas I don't even want to tell you how much they cost nowadays. Good lord.
Yeah.
So cast. Zach Galligan as Billy Peltzer, Phoebe Cates as Kate Berenger, Hoyt Axton as Rand Peltzer, Frances Lee McCain as Lynn Peltzer, Corey Feldman as Pete Fontaine, sort of.
Blink if you miss
Blink and you'll miss him. Kay, I think, is how you pronounce it, Key. Luke as grandfather. Apparently he becomes Mr. Wing in the sequel, but he's grandfather at the moment. Dick Miller as Murray Futterman. Jackie... Oh, wow, my writing is awful on this one. I'm tired, folks. Let's go with Joseph.
Wow.
No, like literally, there is another letter there, and I don't know what that is.
All right.
So Jack, let's go with Jack.
Typing
Joseph
these out.
I really should. As Sheila Futterman, Glenn Turman as Roy Hansen, Judge Reinhold as Gerald Hopkins, sort of.
Another blink and you miss him performance.
Really, and Frank Welker, fucking hell. Frank Welker as the voice of Stripe and many, many other Gremlins. You may know him as the voice of Megatron. And Howie Mandel as the voice of Gizmo.
Mr. Deal or No Deal himself.
Mr. Deal or No Deal himself. Mr. I'm afraid to shake your hand.
Yep.
Which I'm not making fun of him because I have a bit of a germaphobe, so I'm not making fun of him.
Fist bumps too.
Yeah, I'm all for that. So, yeah, so those are the people involved. Interesting. Another one that I didn't mention is Michael Winslow. He did a bunch of voices for the
He did
Gremlins
the other
as well.
whatever Gremlins Frank Welker didn't do.
Yeah. Whenever the
did.
whenever the Gremlins don't sound like Megatron, they are.
And they're
Frank
just
Welker.
making noises.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, Frank Welker is one of the leading voice actors for animal noises.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
I'm assuming no one Stripe was talking. That
was definitely him. If you listen, you can literally hear Megatron. There's no mistaking it. But no, actually, like for instance, Frank Welker, I believe, does Scooby Doo right now.
No.
Yeah.
That's something you have to do, I guess.
Yeah. And like any animal voice, you always call in Frank Welker. His IMDb is like 500 strong, like ridiculously so. Okay, so the making of this flick. This is an interesting one. So, the idea for the movie started when Chris Columbus lived in a loft. Basically, to him, it sounded like all these mice would come out at night, and it seemed like they were organized, and they would just come together and wreak havoc.
Like a mob?
Yeah. And so he kind of was like, wow, that would be interesting, like, you know, using that kind of thing. And then, of course, what a gremlin is supposed to be is an old thing from World War II, where whenever one of the machines or something didn't work, they would always say it's a gremlin in the machine stopping it from working, when really it was just mechanical failure because it's World War II.
Well, Futterman gets into that.
Exactly. So he wrote a spec script that Steven Spielberg happened upon and loved it and immediately bought it. It was just like, no, I'm making this. This
And
is
in
kind
the
of my
80s,
gimmick.
when Steven Spielberg...
Yeah. Well, in the 80s, in the anytime
Yeah.
post-Jaws, Steven Spielberg wants something, it gets done. So, yeah, so basically he bought it and said, okay. And then he hired Joe Dante because of The Howling, of all things. Which, don't see the connection, but... Steven Spielberg saw something. He knows better than me. I'm gonna absolutely say that for sure.
Hey, again, hindsight, Joe Dante, I mean...
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Oh, well, Joe Dante hasn't really done anything post this. He did Gremlins 2, The New Batch.
Yeah.
And then, like, the only other movie that even made a splash to anyone was Small Soldiers, which is atrociously bad. So, although some people, I'm sure, I think, of a certain age hold that. Yeah, exactly.
I had...
It's one of your childhood flicks.
I had Chip as a wee lad. I will make you watch that if I have to.
Oh,
I will
God.
threaten you.
I've never seen it because
No?
I'm not of the age. Why would I ever watch that?
I think you would like it.
I don't think I would. Wait until the end of this movie to find out if I will like it. So the original script was ridiculously darker. It was not. I don't think it was intended to be
Kept some
the
of it.
movie it was. It definitely did. To the point where that actually is what created the PG-13 rating in the U.S.
Yeah, because there was no...
This and Indiana Jones and the Temple
there
of
was
Doom.
no middle ground, right? It
No,
was either
it was-
a kid's film or it was for adults.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, teenagers are a thing.
Well, that was the thing. They had G, which was like the kids'
Yeah.
version, right? And then they had PG, which was kids' movie but darker. Like, you can get away with things. Language wasn't an issue back then, so, like, you could say fuck and shit, and nobody really cared about that. As long as there wasn't overt amount of violence, nudity, anything like that. We in Canada have a very different opinion of that. Even to this day, our 14A would be rated R in every other country.
Yeah. When something's 18A or R here in Canada,
It's like
there's
porn.
there's some serious, there's some
Yeah.
boobies, there's some swearing, there's a
Yeah.
lot of blood and a lot of guts. Like,
Exactly,
it has to
like-
be really...
Like
over the top.
I remember seeing a movie that I'm sure one day we'll cover, Basketball. I saw that in theaters, and it was 14A. And there's cursing, there's violence, there's nudity, like it's everything.
Yeah.
So in the U.S. it's a little more stringent, but with the script being darker, there was a lot more death, including Billy's mom. She died, and he was just random gremlin, I guess, was supposed to throw her head down the stairs.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
A scene where gremlins ate a dog. And,
Not Barney.
Well, I don't know. No, it wouldn't have been Barney because, and we'll get to it in the movie,
sorry,
but
Barney
for
was
some
with-
ass reason, he's with Rand on the sales trip.
I'm pretty sure that's to just say, hey, everyone, the dog's going to be safe for this film, all right? He's not here.
We'll get into my weird complaints about this movie. I mean, in all fairness, I'm sure we're going to have a little bit of a debate on the rules of the Gremlin anyway.
I don't think we will, because your complaints are probably the same as mine.
Maybe. So there was a scene where they attacked a McDonald's and ate all the customers.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's didn't like that, probably.
I don't know. I think it got changed.
That's some weird marketing. That's a weird marketing choice.
Well, at the time, McDonald's probably would have been cool with it.
Yeah.
But I think these were all changed before the film went into production.
Yeah.
Originally, there was no Mogwai stripe. The Gremlin stripe was supposed to, I guess, evolve out of Gizmo. Gizmo wasn't supposed to be, like, the hero that he turned out to be. He was supposed to be, like, the cute little one. Everybody loved him. But, he ate after midnight and turned into the most evil gremlin. That was sort of the idea behind it.
Oh, you can't do that.
Well, that's what Steven Spielberg basically said. He's like, no, we gotta change that.
Hey, we got kids coming.
Yeah.
I got toys that I gotta sell here, buddy.
Basically, his thought process behind it, and he was absolutely right, was basically, look, Gizmo's cute. The audiences are going to love him. You can't make him into the evil one. You've actually got to make him the hero and full on, because the original idea was to have, at the very end, spoiler alert, when Gizmo pulls down the string for the blinds, it was actually supposed to be Billy and Gizmo. But Spielberg said, no, Billy ain't doing shit. Gizmo's doing it. He's the hero. And ultimately he was right, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So the So yeah, as we actually pointed out right before we went on air, as Mogwai actually means in Cantonese, it actually means demon, imp, devil, or basically gremlin in Cantonese. So it's not just clever marketing, or not just some made up word like every Pokemon, which is immediately what I thought of recently today.
Yeah, Gizmo is a